Welcome to this episode of the Screen Facts with Jason Davis podcast. Every Wednesday we discuss a movie we've enjoyed, share some fun trivia facts along the way. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/screenfacts, and you can also post your questions or comments there. You can tweet me at Jason Davis Voice or email screenfacts@yahoo.com. Also, there's a few different ways that you can listen to the podcast other than the one that you have chosen, including now the iHeartRadio website and app. To hear all past episodes, please visit jasondavisvoice.com/podcast for information. Well, joining me on the podcast this week is my lovely wife, Sue.
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
And as you can guess by that, we are going to talk about one of the all-time great Mel Brooks films, Young Frankenstein.
Oh, that's Frankenstein.
Very good. Released December 15th, 1974, shortly after one of your birthdays there.
How do you like that?
Yeah.
And you know I didn't see this in the movies.
No, definitely not. We were both too young at that
Way
time.
too young. I was in my Escape from Witch Mountain and Bambi days.
Yeah. So Young Frankenstein, of course, stars the late, great Gene Wilder, Peter Boyle, Marty Feldman, Madeline Kahn, Cloris Leachman, and Terry Garr. Directed by Mel Brooks. Screenplay, story, and screenplay written by Gene Wilder and Mel Brooks, based on the characters created by Mary Shelley. Nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Sound at the Oscars. Cloris Leachman was nominated for Best Actress, and Madeline Kahn Best Supporting Actress at the Golden Globes. A budget of just $2.8 million, domestic gross of $86.3 million, second only to Blazing Saddles, among the highest-grossing Mel Brooks films.
Yep.
So now that we got all that out of the way,
Well,
we would be remiss if we didn't apologize for not honoring Gene Wilder sooner than this. We were kind of in the midst of a theme month when he passed away.
yeah.
So that's why it's taken so long to talk about one of his movies. And we're going to make up for it by discussing a couple of his movies this month.
How do you like that?
Yeah.
I have some nice information about Gene Wilder if I can share it.
Please do.
All right. Well, he was twice Oscar nominated. One was for his role in The Producers, and the second one was for co-writing this. He was born Jerome Silberman in Milwaukee. He began studying acting at the age of 12.
Okay.
He got his BA from the University of Iowa in 1955, and then he went to the Old Vic Theatre School in Bristol. So that's in England, where he learned acting technique and fencing.
Very interesting.
Isn't that cool? When he came back to the U.S., he taught fencing, did other odd jobs while studying in the HB studio and at the Actors Studio under Lee Strasberg.
Oh, okay.
This
Who's
is
a
big
legend.
time. Then he started doing some Broadway shows. He was in the 1963 production of Mother Courage, which is a Brecht drama. The star of the production was Anne Bancroft.
Oh, that's funny.
So Mel Brooks came to see the show, became friends with him, and
Okay.
they became great friends, great collaborators.
Yeah, they did this, Blazing Saddles. What else was he in? The Producers. Yeah, that's all I can think of off the top of my head.
He worked on TV shows and some TV movies
Okay.
before a small part in Bonnie and Clyde
Okay.
in 1967, a small but scene-stealing appearance. His big break came a year later when Mel Brooks cast him in The Producers.
Right, which he was very good in.
Awesome. Totally awesome. He was a neurotic
Oh,
accountant.
he was amazing.
And he played off of Zero Mostel.
Yeah.
Really great.
It was on the set of Blazing Saddles that he approached Mel Brooks and said, hey, I want you to do my idea for your next movie. And his
Okay.
idea was this, Young Frankenstein.
All right. He passed away this year, August 29th. He died from complications from Alzheimer's.
Isn't the whole thing a complication?
It's horrible. It's just
Yeah.
a horrible disease. And he actually preferred to keep his illness hidden from the public. Later, his nephew Jordan Walker Perlman explained, and quotes, he simply couldn't bear the idea of one less smile in the world.
Oh. Oh, man, that's amazing.
You hear every day about, different celebrities dying or past movie stars or this and that. And you know me. I'm just like, okay. And when I heard he died, I was sad.
Oh, me too.
I actually was sad.
Yeah, I remember feeling the same way about Robin Williams when he passed away.
Yeah.
I normally don't get all that worked up about celebrities dying. You
Yeah.
kind of go, oh, that's sad.
yeah,
I've
okay,
enjoyed
yeah.
their work. But those two guys in particular, for whatever reason, really got me. And, Gene Wilder, in addition to the stuff he did with Mel Brooks, he had a few really funny movies that he did with Richard Pryor.
That's true.
He was great.
Yeah.
This is another one of those movies when we first met, and I mentioned this in the podcast we did for The Jerk with Steve Martin, how when we first met and we were getting to know each other and looking at each other's Facebook pages and all that, you had quoted The Jerk. And this was another movie that you had some quotes from, too.
I've been quoting this movie since I was a kid. As
Yeah.
soon as I must have seen it on Channel 11 one day, you know?
I've always been a fan of Mel Brooks and all of his movies. And I know, I had seen this movie. But for whatever reason, this is a movie that I hadn't seen in a while and I didn't really remember a lot of it. Particularly the quotes that you always come up with.
Right.
There's so many great things in this movie. And the movie starts off with a joke that it's real easy to miss.
And I never even noticed it until we watched it the last time.
Right. The movie opens up and there's like a camera sort of panning in the castle, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a clock chiming, like a grandfather clock.
Yeah.
And it's midnight. And the clock actually chimes 13 times.
Yep. But I've never noticed it before. I was so busy watching it, the shot come to the coffin and then around to the opening and the skeleton's holding the box and the hands reach in to take it away and the skeleton pulls the box back.
Right.
It wasn't until the other night when I sat there and counted the chimes that I went, 13.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that's real easy to miss because the scene goes on forever. It feels like.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the beginning of Spaceballs.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
It's funny how the film is in black and white. And obviously, it's really designed to pay homage to the original Frankenstein movie from 1931.
Yep.
And 20th Century Fox, who released the movie, wanted Mel Brooks to shoot on color stock. So they had options. But he was like, because you're going to screw me if I do that. I'm shooting on black and white, so you can't release it as a color movie.
Good for him.
And you know what?
Yeah, it's so good, just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, watching the movie, it looks like a 30s movie.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
doesn't
does.
look like it was shot in the early 70s.
No, absolutely not. Everything. They nailed all the details of the period.
Yeah, and that was one of the things, too. Gene Wilder said he would do the movie, but he insisted that Mel Brooks not be on camera in the movie.
Yeah.
Because he thought that would kind of, break the reality of it being like a Frankenstein movie.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden Mel Brooks is there, okay, it's a comedy now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously it's a comedy.
Right.
The script is done for laughs, but visually it looks like a Frankenstein movie.
Yep. Well, part of that could be due to the equipment they were using.
Yeah, which is actually very cool.
It is.
When Mel Brooks was preparing to shoot the movie, he found out Ken Strickfaden, who had made the machines for the lab scenes in the original Universal Frankenstein films, was still alive. He was in Los Angeles, or the Los Angeles area. Turned out, Strickfaden had all the equipment stored in his garage. Brooks made a deal to rent the equipment, and then he gave Strickfaden screen credit, something that he didn't receive in the original films. So,
that is so cool.
Very cool. So
Can
he
you-
had the actual Frankenstein equipment in the movie.
Yep. Can you imagine? People keep interesting things in their garages.
Yeah, really.
But can you imagine showing up that day and, keep opening up the door and like seeing this entire lab there?
Yeah. Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
So this week, we watched the movie earlier in the week, and we were talking about when we were going to record the podcast. And you said,
This is going to be the first Wednesday in October.
yes.
Yes, it is. And I said, that's awesome because I have two really timely bits of information that are just going to blow your mind.
The suspense has been killing me. Please put me out of my misery.
You've been so patient, honey.
Thank you.
Well, have you heard of a group called Fathom Events?
I have.
And you know what they do? They'll do small release stuff nationwide on movie screens. And sometimes it's, cultural things like an opera or a ballet.
Or Kiss Rocks Vegas.
That too. Well, on October 5th, which is the day this podcast comes out, there's going to be Young Frankenstein.
Back in theaters.
That's right.
Very cool.
One night only with a live introduction from writer-director Mel Brooks.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, the intro is going to be broadcast from the 20th Century Fox lot in 500 theaters nationwide. And in addition to touring the studio lot, where much of the movie was filmed, Brooks is expected to reminisce about Wilder.
Very, very cool. And so this is one night only, right?
One night only. One night
man.
only.
So if you're hearing this podcast after the original publishing date of it,
Listen on the Wednesday, for gosh sakes.
sorry.
Sorry, you missed it.
That's all right. It's still cool information.
It's really cool. I could, because I never saw it on the big screen.
Yeah.
That would be really cool to see it.
Might have to make that happen.
Ooh,
Possibly.
cool.
Possibly.
Cool. The other tidbit of information I have relates to something that's happening on October 18th, which is the publishing of a book by Mel Brooks
Okay.
about making Young Frankenstein.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's an inside look into the making of the classic film, featuring behind-the-scenes photos and original interviews with the cast and production team.
Very cool.
Just a little information from the prologue. Mel Brooks said, he was a kid living in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. When the movie came out, his older brother took him to see it, but he was still a little kid, and he got really scared.
The original Frankenstein.
Yeah, really, really, really scared to the point where he couldn't sleep at night. And, he was convinced that the Frankenstein monster was going to come kill him in his sleep. And his mother had this whole spiel about, first of all, he's inland. He has to get to the ocean. Then he would have to, come across the ocean. He'd have to dock here in America. He'd have to do this, he'd do that. So even if he came to our building and he made it all the way, what makes you think he's going to come up to the second floor to eat you? He'll eat whoever's on the first floor.
Right. And plus with those big boots, it would be hard for him to walk up the stairs.
So, he said he was haunted by that. He said of all of his films, Mel Brooks was the proudest of this one. He said, my hope was that I always call it Frankenstein. My hope was that Young Frankenstein would transport audiences the way I was transported as a kid sitting in the dark in Williamsburg.
I mean, like I said, when we watched it to prepare for the podcast, I was going, everything about it just felt like a 1930s horror movie.
Yep. And all the classic scenes, the train station, the train.
The little girl, the flower.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just so good.
Very good stuff. So you can't say enough about the cast.
No.
I mean, everybody in the cast is so good.
I was watching and thinking, how many are still alive? Not many, right?
Terry Garr.
Cloris
Leachman is still alive.
Okay.
As far as the main cast.
Yeah, but Madeline Kahn is gone.
Madeline Kahn's gone. Marty Feldman's gone. Peter Boyle is gone. Gene Wilder now. In fact, I thought of that when we were watching the scene when Madeline Kahn finally comes to the castle. When Marty Feldman says, you take the blonde, I'll take the one in the turban.
My favorite line in the entire movie. Help me with these bags. Certainly. You take the blonde, I'll take the one with the turban.
Yeah. I was looking at that scene, and actually Terry Garr was the only one left.
Yeah.
And she's, had MS since, I think, 1983. She was
Really?
diagnosed. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think she still works, though, but probably a lot less than she used to.
Wow.
Always been a fan of Terry Garr.
Yeah, me too.
She's done a lot of good stuff over the years.
Marty Feldman, I never knew how to feel about him when I was little because he was so odd looking.
Sure.
And he actually said after he was cast as Igor, that's Igor, he said, I'm the only guy to ever appear in a horror film without makeup.
So, one of the great jokes from Marty Feldman, from Igor, whatever you want to call him in the movie, because it's really Igor, but he says Igor because of Frankenstein, right? So, the big thing was that the hump keeps changing sides.
What hump?
Right, exactly. Turns out that was ad-libbed by Marty Feldman.
That's all right.
He was goofing around during rehearsals. He kept moving it over, and nobody really noticed for a while.
Yeah.
It took a few days or whatever. And they said, oh, that's really funny. We should put it in the movie. And they did.
Yep. And I love when he shows up at the brain depository after 5 p.m., slip brains through slot and door.
Right, exactly.
And it's not going to go well right from the beginning because he puts his hand through the slot, opens the handle, and then lets himself in, and then he's frightened by his own hand.
Yeah.
And then he's got the H. Delbrook written on the hand and then drops that brain. And that actually, they said that was from the original.
Okay.
And then he goes to the next brain. And in this case, of course, Mel Brooks, points out that it's an abnormal brain.
Abnormal.
Yeah.
One of the other gags with him was the walk this way gag, right?
Yes. And I still do that. I've been doing that all my life. I even have when I'm at work. I probably shouldn't, but...
Well, you're counting on a lot of people knowing what you're talking about, too.
Yeah. Well, I kind of feel like since I work with theater and dance people, I stand a pretty good chance of if someone's going to come with me, I'll say to them, walk this way, and I'll start dragging my leg. And a lot of times they'll do it. So that's good.
It's very funny. Mel Brooks, though, originally, he kind of thought that was a little bit corny, that gag. So he wasn't sure if he wanted to put it in the movie. He wanted to cut it.
Wow.
He decided to leave it in after it got a really great reaction from an audience at a screening. And it's actually a good thing that he did because it ended up inspiring something pretty amazing.
A pretty cool song, right?
Yeah. Believe it or not, that scene in the movie inspired Steven Tyler from Aerosmith to write Walk This Way. the band was recording and they took a break during recording and checked out the movie, saw the movie.
Yeah.
He saw that, and the next morning he wrote Walk This Way.
Oh, that's great.
Which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, yep.
So really quick, I mentioned before that Gene Wilder didn't want Mel Brooks to be on camera.
Right.
Because he thought it would take away from the
Oh, yeah,
authenticity a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Mel didn't care about being on camera, but he did actually contribute some stuff to the movie. When they're pulling in on the coach with the horses and you hear the wolf, the werewolf, werewolf? Yeah.
Werewolf.
I thought you wanted to talk like
Why are we
that.
talking like that? I thought you wanted to.
Yeah. But the wolf noise was Mel. And then the scene where Frankenstein is playing darts with the inspector and you hear a cat shrieking.
Oh, yeah, the
You know, like as if a cat got
because
hit
the
with a
dart
dart.
goes through the window.
Right.
And it goes outside.
That was Mel as well.
Yep.
And the voice of Frederick's grandfather that he hears when he first goes into the laboratory is Mel as well.
How I Did It by Victor Frankenstein. What a great book.
Frankenstein. And then there's also a gargoyle on the castle that sort of looks like Mel too.
Sorta. We were trying to figure out which one it was.
Yeah. It's like right by the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's a great way to put tribute to somebody in a film, though.
Yeah, it's
Why
cool.
not?
Yeah, why
The
not?
set for that, it's incredible.
Yeah.
The castle, everything. It's just so cool.
Again, they were going for authenticity.
Yep. The big
And they pulled it off.
chandelier in the main room. Oh, and then Cloris Leachman leading them up the stairs with the 3 candles, candlesticks in the candelabra. None of them are lit.
Yeah. And I said, why aren't the candles lit? And you said, because it's funny.
You know what? I think when I was watching it this last time, I kind of realized where I get a lot of my shtick from
Yeah.
when I do a comedy.
You've definitely borrowed from a lot of great things when we've done shows together. This, Airplane, you know, all
Walk
kinds
This Way. Come
Yeah,
on.
absolutely. So we should definitely talk about some of the other people in the cast.
Yes. Madeline Kahn. I have to say, as a kid, again, I wasn't watching a lot of this stuff, as it was, fresh out, but seeing it later, I was mad about her. I just thought she was the best. Just
Because she's so over the top.
She's so over the top, but she's serious about it. She's really serious about her comedy. And Mel Brooks actually felt that she was the greatest comedian that ever lived.
She was pretty awesome. I mean, I don't really know a lot of the stuff she did outside of Mel Brooks films, if there was, but anything that she did in a Mel Brooks movie was gold.
Absolutely. And she was a musical theater person.
There you go.
She had the interest. Her mother pushed her to study music and drama at Hofstra,
Okay.
but she majored in speech therapy. But after she graduated, she realized she really wanted to be an actor.
She's so good in this movie.
Absolutely. Between that and, Blazing Saddles, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
She was great.
Yep.
And then Cloris Leachman, it's got like a trilogy of awesome women.
Yeah.
Woo! You got Terry Garr, who's, the gorgeous ingenue with the roll into hay. And nice knockers. Oh, thank you, doctor. She has all that fun, sex kitten stuff. Then you have Madeline Kahn as the uptight fiance. He goes to kiss her. She's like, lipstick. He goes to hug her. Oh, my hair. He wants to give her a hug. Taffeta, darling. She's so high maintenance.
And then later on in the movie, too, when she comes to the castle and give me a kiss goodnight, and he goes in for the kiss, he's like, no tongues.
No tongues.
That was ad-lib, by the way.
Oh, awesome. And then you got Cloris Leachman with her hair pulled back in the bun and, the mole and the expressions and the whole Frau Blucher thing.
I think the best comedians, male or female, are the ones that don't care if they look ugly when they're being funny.
Well, comedy isn't always pretty.
It's not. It usually isn't, actually. And if you think about it, not just with Mel Brooks movies, but if you go back to Saturday Night Live, too, the funniest stuff is when women just let it all hang out.
Down and dirty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Her expressions, the scene where Cloris Leachman is saying goodnight to Gene Wilder, and she's like, would you like a glass of wine before bed? No. Some more milk? No. This or that. Ovaltine, and her face just is like, she's got that pained look on her face. They had to do that scene 14 times because she kept cracking Gene Wilder up.
Yeah, I read that he blew a lot of takes.
Yeah.
He blew a lot of takes
How
during
could
the
you
film.
not?
Yeah.
And then the whole, Frau Blucher, nay!
Yeah.
There is actually a rumor going around that I don't think they tried to stop in the 70s. Word got out somehow that the word Blucher meant glue,
Right.
but it doesn't.
That's what he supposedly told Cloris Leachman, and she talked about that in an interview.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that.
Yeah, no.
So Gene Wilder called this movie his favorite of all the films he ever made.
There you go.
Which is not surprising.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
since he's one of the writers, too.
Yeah.
But he, Peter Boyle, and Marty Feldman were cast together in the film, partially because they had a mutual agent who had a deal with the movie studio.
Okay.
So, I mean, obviously, they're all super
They're all
talented.
so good together. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Peter Boyle doesn't say a word in the entire movie until the end.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. His face. So great.
And it's interesting, you mentioned how great Terry Garr is, too. Originally, she auditioned for the role of Elizabeth, the fiance, with Madeline Kahn as the frontrunner for Inga, the assistant.
Right. So it would have been a swap.
Right. Madeline Kahn ultimately decided she'd rather play Elizabeth. When Mel Brooks had to recast the Inga role, he called Garr in and said if she could come back the next day with a German accent, he'd like her for the part. She looked at Mel and said,
"Well, yes, I could do the German accent tomorrow. I could come back this afternoon."
And the part was hers. So Garr said that she based her accent on Cher's wig maker, who she worked with on the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour.
Could you imagine the real life version of that?
Yikes.
Wow. Wow. You know, another little funny Terry Garr story is that she had Mel Brooks explain to her what a Schweinsteiger is. It's from when they're talking about, reanimating a body. You'd need a large body, large, big hands, big feet. And she says, oh, well, he must have an enormous Schweinsteiger. So when Brooks explained to her what it was, she just came out with woof. And they kept it in, and then they gave it to Madeline Kahn later.
Very nice.
With the woof.
One of the sort of unsung heroes in this movie that a lot of people probably forget about when they talk about it because it's such a small part is the blind man.
I know.
And if you're not paying attention, you may not realize that it's Gene Hackman.
Well, he's got hair. It's hard to,
Well, it's just the beard, everything.
Yeah.
But when he says at the end of his scene, I'm going to make espresso, that wasn't in the script. And that's why, if when you're watching the movie, it fades to black so fast because the crew just burst out laughing. When he said that.
The whole circle of darkness just comes in real fast on that fade out there. I giggled the entire time. If I wasn't laughing out loud, I was at least giggling for the entire time we watched this. And I've seen this movie many times before.
Listen, classic is classic.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, again, when we go back to the Jerk podcast.
Right.
I think Steve Martin is kind of cut from the same cloth that Mel Brooks is in a lot of ways. I know that Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner are still great friends.
Okay.
They still spend a lot of time together. They still make each other laugh. That's why they're still so vibrant because they keep laughing. They keep making each other laugh. They're sharp.
Gotta laugh.
But the reason I bring up Carl Reiner is because he directed The Jerk. So I think there's a lot of the same kind of humor. And remember when we talked about The Jerk, how Steve Martin said when they were writing the script, their goal was to have a joke per page of the script.
Yeah, exactly. A laugh a minute.
Yeah, laugh a minute. And I think that they probably did something similar with this movie.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
It certainly felt like it. We were laughing a lot.
I would imagine there's be a laugh a couple times a minute with
absolutely.
the script. Like the first thing that came into my head was, do you like it? I don't really care for desserts much myself. Well, you made a yummy sound. And it's the monster going. And I love when...
A yummy sound.
A yummy sound. I love when the monster does the takes to the camera. Too.
Oh, yeah.
A couple times it's just like, oh, dead on right to the camera. So great.
Marty Feldman does that a couple times, too. It's very funny. Sometimes you can't believe that certain things almost didn't make it into the movie.
Yep.
And one of the things that almost didn't make it is probably the most iconic thing in this movie, and that's the music number.
With
Gene Wilder and the Monster.
Imagine?
Doing Putting on the Ritz.
What would we have for a ringtone if we didn't? You have that.
For Joe Rosen.
Exactly. Hey, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, Mel originally didn't want to put it in the movie because he thought it would detract from the faithfulness of the monster stuff.
Okay.
Because it's obviously very silly.
Right.
Gene Wilder said he was close to rage and tears when Mel said that and argued for the scene. After Wilder fought for the scene, Mel thought putting it in was the right thing to do. But it wasn't until he saw an audience's response that he was finally confident about the scene. That's the best scene in the movie for me.
I love it because, to me, it's a spoof not just on Frankenstein, but like, King Kong or like those sort of movies where it's like, here, this is a very fragile situation. First, we're going to have all of these people in a movie theater.
Right.
Then we're going to have this thing on stage. Then he's going to walk forwards. Now he's going to walk backwards. Now he's going to do a musical number.
That's right.
It's just so absurd.
And it's just great how they're in tuxedos.
And the way
Marty
they're
Feldman
dancing.
on piano.
Yeah. And then one of the footlights snaps and that's, sends the monster into a rage.
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits?
But there's so many other things that are classic from, the original and that type of movie. I loved seeing all the villagers, with the torches and the pitchforks and, that's still spoofed today, that kind of thing. I mean, you see that in SpongeBob.
It's great. It's great. All of it. It's just, it's so well done. And that's what makes it so funny.
Right.
Is that they throw the humor in amidst all of this real, authentic monster movie kind of stuff.
Yep.
Mel Brooks says that Columbia Pictures was so opposed to him shooting in black and white that the very next day he took it to 20th Century Fox. And it turned out Alan Ladd Jr., who had just taken over the studio, had no problem with the idea. And again, going back to another one of the podcasts that we've done in the past for Star Wars, during that podcast, we talked about how Alan Ladd Jr. was the first person to really champion George Lucas's vision. No wonder he was the head of the studio.
Visionary, absolutely.
They actually borrowed another thing from the original Frankenstein movie, too. In the original 1931 Frankenstein movie, they used greenish face makeup on the monster.
Yeah.
And what that did was it kind of made the features more prominent on the black and white film. Same thing here.
Yeah, that little zipper neck.
Oh, the zipper neck. That's so funny to me.
I also love Inspector Kemp. Watching him in his scenes makes you realize that there's not a single part of the entire movie that's not funny.
Yeah.
He's just the local magistrate. But they took it up a notch with the fake hand. He was, working with Brooks, and they were working on getting him cast as Kemp. Mel Brooks actually said to him, "Before we really go ahead with this, I have to ask you something. If you're wearing an eye patch and you've got a monocle on top of the eye patch, is that too much?" And his reply was, "Of course not." And then, Mel Brooks said, "Good, you're hired." Between that and the hand, and then when they pick him up and use him as a battering ram. So awesome.
Mel Brooks is one of the few legends in Hollywood that has a EGOT, which is the Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. He's got one of each. He won the Tony for The Producers on Broadway.
Oh, so good.
But because that was so successful, shortly thereafter, they made the musical out of this.
Yes. I've never seen that. Have you?
No, I have not. 29 previews, 485 performances from November 8th, 2007, closed January 4th, 2009.
Okay.
So it didn't do as well as The Producers.
No. It does get picked up and done, though, all across the country.
Yeah. It probably would be fun to see.
Yeah.
Just to see what they did, in terms of the musical numbers. People don't even realize how brilliant Mel Brooks is sometimes, I mean, the guy's been around forever. He comes from that vaudeville background.
Yeah. The physical comedy, the puns.
Yeah, I love the puns.
It's all in the timing. It's just, it's classic and it's so good.
Maybe younger people nowadays might not appreciate it as much because maybe it comes off as corny a little bit, but I love it.
I think they should be taught to appreciate it because stuff like this is just, it's so much fun just to sit and watch and laugh your butt off for, hour and a half or however long it is.
Yeah. And Mel Brooks is one of the best at physical comedy because he did Silent Movie.
Yeah.
Where the only person who talks in the movie is a mime, which is great. You can't say enough about the genius of Mel Brooks.
No,
and again, at 90, he's still sharp as a tack and brilliant. And there was a thing that was circulating on Facebook and the internet recently where President Obama awarded him some sort of a medal for his contributions to entertainment. And when he put it around his neck, Mel did like he was falling over, like he was, it was too heavy.
Yeah.
And I think he actually got Obama. Like Obama's, "Oh my God, are you okay?"
That's great.
Yeah. So, I mean, even
classic.
just, yeah.
Yep. We love you, Mel.
Absolutely. Well, honey, thanks for talking about another fun movie with me. Always a pleasure.
Oh, the feeling is mutual.
Oh, no. Can't shake it, can you?
No.
Thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. And remember to like the Facebook page, facebook.com/screenfacts. Also, I'm at Jason Davis Voice on Twitter. You can email screenfacts@yahoo.com. Remember to please help others find the show by good old word of mouth. You can rate and comment on iTunes. You can also show support for the show by ordering Screen Facts merchandise on the podcast page of jasondavisvoice.com. And another thing, like I said earlier, that you can do there is find out all the different ways you can listen to the podcast. Sure, you're listening to it, so obviously you found it, but if there's something that's more convenient, you'll find out about it on the website. Show theme music by audionautics.com. Special thanks to our announcer, Kim McKay from kimsvoice.com.
Screen Facts with Jason Davis is a production of Jason Davis VoiceOver. Visit jasondavisvoice.com if you need a voice for a commercial, narration, promo, internet video, e-learning or training program, and more. Click on the podcast page to get information about where you can download and listen to past episodes. Listen again next Wednesday for a new episode of Screen Facts with Jason Davis.